Today I'm gonna talk about how to complete the square of the expression. Before I solve the following examples, I would like to recall a well-known formula: x squared plus or minus 2px plus p squared equals x plus or minus p squared. Okay, in this formula, especially for the middle term, if we have positive 2px, that means here we have x plus p. Okay, if it's negative 2px, that means here we're gonna have x minus p. Okay, and in this formula on the left hand side we have 3 terms. Okay, we need to have 3 terms. Then we can construct x plus or minus p square, the complete square. Okay, we need these 3 terms to construct the complete square. Now let's take a look. The first example, x squared plus 12x. Okay, it's very clearly we can see that's the first term. Okay, first term, and that's the second term. Okay, we need the third terms. Okay, and we need the third terms, p squared. Okay, so it's very clearly the first term is equivalent, right? X squared here is x squared. Now let's take a look the second term. When we compared it with the formula, here is a 2px, here is a 12x. We let then these two equals to each other. Okay, 2px equals 12x, corresponding the second term. Let these two equals each other. And then we can solve the p actually. How to solve it? We divide by 2x, because 2px can be written down as 2xp, right? 2xp equals 12x, and then divided by 2x for both sides, and we can cancel out 2x. Here the x cancel out, and p equals 6, right? P equals 6. Now we get the p equals 6. Then we can construct the p square, right? Because we find the p equals 6. So let's take a look. For this term, we can write down as x squared plus 12x plus what? P squared. P is what? P is equals x, equals 6. So we have 6 squared. Okay, when you add 6 squared here, and of course you can subtract 6 here, subtract 6 squared here. So now it is satisfy the formula here. We have 3 terms, right? 3 terms. And then the most important thing is we find p equals 6, right? P equals 6. So it all boils down to x plus p. P is 6 square minus 36. Okay, 36. So the answer for the first question, the number that should be added to the completed square is 6 square. 6 square, that is 36. And factor the resulting perfect square trinomial, that should be this guy, right? Factor, so it should be x plus 6 square. Okay, now let's take a look the second example. For the second example, we have y squared minus 30y. Okay, again we're gonna focus on the first two terms, and here is x, here's a y, right? So we can change the x to the y. Just basically you can change the x to the y. Here change the x to the y square plus or minus 2py, and that's the same. And then we change the y plus or minus p square, right? The same things. We just change the variables. Okay. Now we're gonna follow the same strategy. So here the first term is the same. The second term here is negative, right? Because here is a negative. Negative 2py. Negative 2py equals negative 30y, because the second term here is negative 2py equals the second term here is negative 30y. Okay, so now we can solve the p. For the p we can write down as negative yp. We divide by negative 2y for both sides. We're gonna get what? We cancel out, and that cancel out. P equals 15. Very good. Now we can finish the complete square. So here that means we can add the p square. P square is what? 15 square. After you add the p square, 15 square, you need to subtract the 15 square. Okay. Now we have what? We can again I want to emphasize we have these three terms, right? We have three terms that satisfy this formula that will boils down to y subtract p. P is 15, right? P is 15 minus 15 square should be 225. Okay, so for the second example, the number of that should be added to complete the square is what? Is 15 square, right? 15 square. That should be 15 square. We write down 15 square should be 225, and the factor, the resulting perfect square trinomial, that should be this guy, right? So it's y minus 15 square. Now let's take a look the last example. Again, we're gonna focus on these two terms, okay? And here is a plus for 1/4 x. Here's 2px, because here is a positive, so it should be a positive 2px. Now we let 2px equals 1/4 x. Now we try to solve the p. What is p? So we have 2x p 1/4 x, and divided by 2x for both sides. Okay, and then we cancel out, and of course cancel out. 1/4 divided by 2 gonna be 1/8. Okay, 1/8. Because what are you gonna do? You can let the denominator times 1/2. Let the numerator times 1/2. 1/4 times 1/2. 4 times 2 is 1/8, and 2 cancel out. These two cancel out. Okay. Now we found the p. Then we can write down the third term. Okay, the third term, x squared plus 1/4 x plus p squared, that is 1/8 squared. And when you add the number, you need to subtract this number. Okay. Now, we have 3 terms. Okay. We have 3 terms, and we know the p is 1/8. Okay. 1/8. So, we can plug in x plus p. P is 1/8. And 1/8 squared should be 1/64. Okay, so the answer for the last example should be 1/8 squared, should be 1/64, and the factor, the resulting perfect square trinomial should be this guy. Okay, so we have x plus 1/8 squared. That's it.